wonke emakhaya. It is time for your favorite weekly current affairs program. Yilungelo Lakho. It's your right, of course, Sizaguni bukhoma la kumamba phambili SABC 1 eMzansi for sure. Intokazi emhlophe uMajali uNhlanhlo ishongololo likaMepo is officially in the Auckland Park building. Ngicela nje ukuthi sithathe lo mzuzu mbukeli ngithi nje kuMzansi wonke silahlekelwe isilo samabandla sithi nje lala ngoxolo mabheka mageba kandaba bayede indaba ezitha sithemba ukuthi lo msebenzi wakhe uzohamba kahle mbukeli khumbuleka ukuthi we are live in studio. You can give us a call on 011 714 6918 alternatively 714 6918 and consumer@sabc.co.za is of course your email address there. Mbukeli ola namhlanje udaba phela libhekene nalabo esekufike isikhathi sokuthi bathathe imgodlwana yabo bashiye phansi emsebenzini ngemuva phela kweminyaka emide befukuza besebenza. Kodwa ke iziphi izinto phela esemqoka ekumele umuntu azicabangisise ikakhulukazi ngeimali azophuma nazo lapha emsebenzini ekuthiwa ama severance package. Mbukeli leli ilungelo lakho njengoba sengishilo asingene shiqe odabeni lethu la namhlanje. Downsizing is the name of the game for many organizations facing the current tough economic times, and of course several workers taking severance packages are now having to rethink and think very hard about what to do with their sudden windfall. Yebo mbukeli ngeshwa ke abaningi bashiya emsebenzini kulamalanga bazitholeke sebebhidene ukuthi bayisebenzise kanjani ke leyo mali abazophuma nayo. Uthola ukuthi abanye they misuse it, bayithathe bayifake ezintweni engamele. Uthola ukuthi umuntu before eseku retirement age usezoyibona lapho engesenamali. Ake sibhekisise udaba lethu ukuthi lithini.
Uqoqosho lwaseMzansi Afrika alikho kwimeko encomokayo kwaphela. Isifo esiqubayo elizweni jikelele nesibizwa iCovid-19 sinyenzela abaqeshi abaninzi kuba mabavale ingcango bacime imitshini emveliso kuba akukho mali ingenayo. Lonto ithethe kuba amawakawaka abantu ajongene nokudendwa. Xa kudendwa ngokomthetho umuntu ochaphazelayo uyanikwe imali ethile voluntary severance package ngolwasemzini. Yintoni injongo le mali?
When an ex-employee gets retrenched from a business, they will receive a lump sum of cash that is supposed to support them and their family and the needs of them and their family until they can find a new position. The problem is no one knows how long it's going to take to find a new job, which is why it's very important for these members to make the correct spending decisions during this period.
UJonathan Sierra uligosa lenkampani ecebisa abantu ngendlela yokonga nokuphatha imali efunyanwa ngumuntu obeka phansi engqeshweni. Uthi into bayibonayo yokuba amaxesha amaninzi imali ifika ingalungiselelwanga. Xa kunjalo kulula ukuba umuntu enze impazamo iyakumlimaza kakhulu epokothweni.
People emotionally are so used to receiving their monthly income, providing for themselves and their family on that. And when they receive this big lump sum of money, they're not sure what to do with it. And we see some terrible spending decisions in the market.
Like what?
You know, people buy holidays, cars they can't afford, new toys. Unfortunately, it's human to buy the things we want. You know, we want that immediate gratification.
Sierra uthi xa ujongene nale meko kufuneka uchule ukunyathela kuba into oyenza ngale mali namhlanje inganeziphumo ezibuhlungu xa kufika ixesha lokuba udle umhlala phansi ebudaleni.
With the separation package, you have to cash it out. Now, it's very important to understand how tax works on this. So every South African citizen only gets a 500,000 Rand tax-exempt portion once at retirement. When you take a VSP, that 500,000 Rand gets moved to today. So the first 500,000 Rand is tax-free. Now, whatever you use up today, you don't get at retirement. So if I receive a VSP package of, say, 200,000 Rand, that only leaves 300 for me at retirement. It's very important to understand the financial implications of that. Now, having said that, you can only take the cash portion. You have to take the money. And then once you get those funds, that's when the financial planning starts. And you need to say to yourself, what are my short-term, what are my medium-term, and what are my long-term needs? And that's when you start making the correct financial decisions.
Ukuze ungaphazami okaSierra uthi kufuneka ukhangele ingcebiso kwingcali ezinolwazi lokucwangcisa imiba yemali. Kaloku inyathi ibuzwa kwabaphambili. Kuvuyisile Mdoda, Yilungelo Lakho.
Sibonge kakhulu kwinsizwa lapho baba Uvuyisile Mdoda ngalo mbiko asididiyele wona. Manje ke mbukela usixwayisa kabanzi phela ngakho konke kumele sibhekisise. Uma phela sesithola la uma Severance package ezimali zethu ezisetshenzelwe kanzima mbukeli asamukele iblesser yethu, our very own blesser, ngisho yena ubaba uJohn Manyike obuya kwa Old Mutual. Sinayo no our very own Idris Elba, ngikhuluma ngoGerald Mwandiyamvira. My gentlemen, hello gentlemen, how are you doing? Let's start with you, Idris. Gerald, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm great, thank you very much, and good afternoon to all the SABC One viewers.
Thank you so much. Babu John, siyakwamukela babohlelweni Nsizwa. As always, it's always a pleasure. Welcome to the show.
Yebo sawona nakuwe, although I won't say you're a blessee.
Never. Gentlemen, let's get straight into it. Gerald, we saw in the insert there, the guy there, our case study is basically warning everybody, saying that the money that you actually get from your severance package is not actually what is the total that you're going to need for the rest of your life. So you need to make very good decisions about what it is that you do with it right from the onset. Talk to us about that, Gerald.
Yes, Alicia, I think it's important for us to remember that when you take your voluntary severance package, you must have your financial affairs in order, because you don't know whether you're going to get umsebenzi again in the near future.
Yes.
Or maybe if you're deciding maybe that's your retirement. Hence, on the insert, they said that from a SARS tax perspective, you are deemed to have retired on that day.
Yes.
Therefore, the retirement tax table or withdrawal tax table kicks in. And when we see big numbers, sometimes they'll say 2 million, 3 million, you think it's a lot of money. But when you take tax off and you realize that people are now living to 90, 100, 120, are you going to live and survive off that? And that's the biggest challenge. So as much as it is very tempting to take the money and solve your situation for today, you might be creating a problem for yourself in 3 years or 4 years when you're now dry and down and out.
John, what do you say to that? I suppose abantu abaningi eMzansi, we always cautioning abantu ukuthi whenever you get huge cash sums, kumele uyithathe leyo mali uyigcine or we-invest or use it in a positive manner. But it seems like leyo message is not resonating with people. Abantu abayizwa lento, siyababona abantu bathatha impesheni or ama-severance package okwamanje uthola ukuthi umuntu udiliziwe emsebenzini. Ayithatha umuntu afuna ukuyokwakha isithabathaba sendlu and then akazi ukuthi afterwards what's left in the bank, ingane ezoya ngane esikoleni. How are they going to maintain a lifestyle?
No, iqiniso lokho. Yabana especially masikhuluma nge-voluntary severance package where umqashi awunike i-option ukuthi ungayithatha noma ungafuna ukuyithatha ungahlala emsebenzini. Abanye vele abayithatha noma bangayidingi lo severance package ngoba mababheka ama-zeros maningi, yazi uma ungayijwayelanga imali eningi mhlambe ama-digit ayo awu-5.
Yes.
All of a sudden mawusubona i-statement sithi no uzothola R1 million, abanye bavele bayithathe even though abanayo iplan. Inkinga lapho njengoshilo uBujerald lapho ukuthi kumele ube neplan. If unganayo iplan, ukuthatha i-voluntary package is a risk ngoba it is actually not wealth. Siyabona kwamanye amashow bakhombisa abantu badla imali within few months, even ilot isheshe iphele if unganayo iplan. So kubalekile ukuthi uba neplan ukuthi uzokwenzani ngale mali ezofika if uthatha i-package, u-understand nalama tax azo-apply lapha ukuthi ukhulume i-financial plan ezokhona ukukhombisa ukuthi imali ungayinvesta kanjani ukuthi ingasheshe iphele. Abanye vele bayishiye ku-savings account and i-savings account ayizawukhulisa leyo mali and if ungana-apply izosheshe iphele.
But then, Gerald, if then one has a choice, like in this regard, where we're talking about you have a choice whether or not to take your severance package, would it be wise instead of, when you can still continue with work, make sure it gains even more momentum, as you're staying emsebenzini? Why do people want to rather take le mali because it's on offer?
Well, I think there's two ways to look at it. Sometimes employers, they coerce you. They convince you it's the best decision for you to take. Because they say, look, if you don't take a VSP, voluntary severance package, we could end up retrenching everyone. And under the Labor Act, when it's a retrenchment, you get 1 week's salary for every year worked. And then people now calculate VSP sometimes will give you a generous offer. They might even say 1 month's salary for every year worked. It's a big difference in the amount. So you need to be careful. Don't be convinced to take it because you are afraid that the company might close down, okay? The second thing is exactly what you said, Alicia. If you don't have a plan, don't take it. Because when you are going to work, you're going for one word. It starts with an I, income.
Yes.
So income is the number one reason we all work. So we need to understand that if you don't have a plan to replace that income, let's say you're getting 15, 20,000 per month. If you don't have a plan to replace it, you're better off staying inside work and seeing it through, because at the end of the day, it also depends on your age. If you're 40, 45, you've still got another 15, 20 years of good work in you. Rather stick around. If you're 63, 64, you're retiring next year, then maybe obviously a VSP might become more attractive because you're not going to lose that much in terms of the value of your pension fund. And plus, because they're making an incentive for it to be more, it might actually catch up and give you a slight advantage.
Babu John, maybe awusichazele, who should really be thinking about opting for that option yokuthatha i-severance package? And maybe let's go even with demographic age, as Babu Gerald has just explained now. And maybe uchazele youth, is it wise for them to think about ukuthatha lawo package when you're still 29, when you're still fresh, umajali uyazi ukuthi njengoba esho uBabu Gerald, you still got many more years in you of umsebenzi?
So lokho kahle kahle kuzawudependa ukuthi uneplani na, but kahle kahle if you are still youth, mhlambe you've only worked for 2 years, akwenzi sense ukuthi usheshe uthathe i-voluntary package. Kumele usebenze u-accumulate i-pension yakho, also na i-number of years, because ukuthi uzokhokhwa kanjani kuzodependa ukuthi unesikhathi esingakanani usebenzela leyo nkampani. So if usasenamandla, rather work for more. However, if you know ukuthi i-skill sakho is something esiscarce, mhlambe umsebenzi owenza awujwayelekanga in the company, uyazi ama-engineers ayafuneka, sengenza umzekelo. So it depends on profession yakho ukuthi uyidemand kangakanani, where you know ukuthi umsebenzi ugalo mningi ngaphandle, ukuthi lapho nawe uziqalele into yakho eceleni. Mara baningi abantu uthola ukuthi umuntu so mhlambe 52 years awukazi empilweni yakho uqala ibhizinisi, awukazi nokuthengisa amagwinya, mara so ucabanga uzathatha leyo package uyothengisa amagwinya ngayo. So kumele ube sure ngalento ofuna ukuyenza. Abantu abaningi bacabanga ukuthi mangizothola le mali ye-voluntary package angaya ngiyocala ibhizinisi, awukaka check awunayo ne-business plan, mara ufuna ukuthatha le package uqala ibhizinisi. Abanye kudala bafuna uku-own imoto, umuntu ahamba ayothenga ama-second hand cars awu-4, wonke ahlanza i-oil, uhlala uwalungisa njalo nje, imali iphumayo le. So kumele ube ucace ukuthi ufuna ukwenzani. That's why kubalulekile ukuthi before uthatha le package wenze i-research yakho ukuthi kahle kahle if uyithatha uzothola malini, after tax more or less ungasala ngemalini, yini into oziyenza. If for example uzitshela ukuthi mhlawumbe ufuna uku-invest ku-property, uzowakha ama-flat, uyazi ukuthi i-demand yalapho injani, uzorentisa ama-room, enye example. I'm not saying that abantu bathathe i-package zikhona indlela zokuthi unga-investa ukuthi le mali ingahambi isahleli kuleyo asset, if a flat for example azowarentisa.
All right, ngiyabonga Babu John. Basically mbukeli kuyashiwo lapho ukuthi before uyithatha le mali, you need to have a solid plan owazi ukuthi uzothi uyithatha le mali uyisebenzise kanjani. Ungathi uthola i-severance package kusasa usuyahamba uyovula ibhizinisi ongakazi ucabange nokuthi ibhizinisi liranwa kanjani. 0117146918 7146919 consumer@sabc.co.za. Those are the magic numbers to call. We're back shortly after this. Ningayindawo babukeli.
Yilungelo Lakho.
Bokeli, welcome back. You're watching Yilungelo Lakho live on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Namo Mangolosi. Bokeli khumbula ingcingo ivuliwe. You can call me in studio. Ngiyazi ave ngithanda ukungifonela 011-714-6918. Alternatively 714-6919. You can send us your emails to consumer@sabc.co.za. Sikhona futhi lapha ku Facebook. Namhlanje Mbukeli, we're talking about ukuthi uma sekufika phela isikhathi sokuthi emsebenzini uthola i-severance package, imali isamba esiningi emva kweminyaka eminingi usebenzile, kumele wenzeni ngaleyo mali? Sesiyezwa ukuthi nazi insizwa lapho baba John Manyike no Gerald Mwandiyambira bathi kumele ube neplan before you actually take that money out, uhambe uyoyispenda, uhambe uyoqala ibhizinisi ongakazi ulifunde. So ungashayela Mbukeli esitudio sizozwa wena ukuthi uthini. So maybe Gerald, let's get back with you. I mean, what are some of the worst decisions that people are likely to make when it comes to, yes, exactly, when it comes to the usage of these severance packages? I mean, maybe give us a few examples of what you've encountered.
Look, we make bad financial decisions all the time, but when it comes to lump sum, one thing is Rurim, we talk.
Yes.
We tell John, we tell Alicia, we tell the whole world, the money is coming.
Yo.
And when you say that, you start building my friends.
Alicia is already, she wants shoes.
Yes. So you get an entourage, you suddenly get followers. Even Abu Mashonisa come and say, you know what, don't even wait for the money. I mean, it's coming. Just small interest. So bad decision number one is you talk too much, you tell the whole world exactly what's happening and what's coming. Second one is you tell the wrong people. So as much as Ubab John is representing a reputable financial services company, they are fly by night. I'm financial advisors from, Mkoto. They just come and they say, look, great investment, we're going to buy Bitcoin, we're going to buy trees, we're going to buy something. And they show you big numbers. And a lot of the time, they'll even take you a hotel and they'll show you lunch, where you have 3 forks, 3 knives. Nice one, But they're all setting you up for that one. And the third worst decision, which we all make with our voluntary severance packages, is what Bob John was talking about. We become businessmen. So suddenly, you've never seen a dead body, but you're going to be an undertaker. You suddenly want to do something which you've never tried before. You want to own taxes. It's best you stick to your lane. Sometimes we need to realize that if it wasn't our second or third hustle whilst we were working and it wasn't working, we stay away from that, because when money comes, we get drunk with it. And the last one is don't gamble it away. Don't say, you know what, if I go and I gamble tonight and I double this money, ngizoba strong, because it doesn't always work out like that. And these are just the wisdom decisions. When you get your money, take your time out. Think about what you're going to do. In fact, you can't even think about it. You should have a plan to know in terms of what you're going to do. Also, if you take a voluntary severance package, you're giving up EUIF. Because you're voluntarily making yourself unemployed. Therefore, any benefit which can come from unemployment insurance fund of money whilst you're waiting or extra income, it falls away. So these are some of the things which a lot of people overlook. And then suddenly when they're in it, they realize, it's too late.
Babu John, maybe, we've been talking about Ama plan, Noguti, this. What should be these plans that we're talking about? Should I then take a-severance package, settlisha Ama debts, or pursue those dream projects? Mara, as in a plan, Noguti, I've actually done the legwork, I've done the research, Nyazu Guti Ming Sugalangita Timali, Izoyala, and already Ama returns, Uguti Nancy profit, I can already guarantee Uguti Zobanama profits lab.
Yeah, so I think mina bengizothi into ecala umuntu umqashi makathi ukuzoba nama retrenchment khuluma ne financial advisor ubuze ukuthi amaphi ama investment instrument la ongabeka imali khona, starting mhlambe with preservation fund, where again this is I must also point out ukuthi lento ngisho akusi financial advisor. Kumele ukhulume ne-financial advisor yakho ikhona ukuku-advisor. Lana sinikeza nje umzekelo ukuthi ungakhona ukuthatha a portion of that uyibeka ku-preservation fund. You know ukuthi imali esuka directly from your pension fund straight to preservation fund ayengeke i-tax ngaleso sikhathi ngoba awuyisebenzisanga, but you would have taken mhlambe i-portion ye-severance package. If it's the first $500,000 that tax free, at least uyile mali ungasebenza kuyo ukuthi ungayisebenzisa in the meantime for your short-term projects and for your living expenses. While you are deciding ukuthi there's no need ukuthi uyithathe yonke leyo mali, including, in other words, mangithi yonke imali ngisho i-severance package plus ne-pension yakho. So uyakhona ukusepaketha mhlawumbe lenye uyishiye ku-preservation, uzadicide later ukuthi ufuna ukwenzani ngayo. Bese-ke kule khona uyakhona ukutshela i-advisor yakho ukuthi umbuze ukuthi yiphi i-instrument la ungabeka khona le mali, and then kube ne-something that we call scheduled disinvestment, where that forms part of your monthly income. Because you tell the advisor ukuthi okay ngicela unginvestele le mali mara ngicela ukuthi kube certain amount uzovumelana nayo ngayo ukuthi ibe imali ezophuma uyitreat njenge-salary. Leyo income ezayo on a monthly basis uyayibudgetela noma just like any other normal salary. Whilst you are planning ukuthi what is your other things that you can do ngaleyo mali, ungasheshi uvele ungene kuyo nje and spend all sorts of things. For me, that would be the wisest thing to do. Imali maizofika, and that way you have played safe in terms of tax by taking your pension, whereas you could be parking it in a preservation fund while you're deciding. And if ukwenza ukuthi uthole omunye umsebenzi within the next 3 to 6 months, leyo mali uyifaka ku-preservation fund isase safe and ayitaxwanga ngoba uyifake ku-preservation fund in that way. So ezinye indlela that ungayenza ukuthi imali yakho ube safe ngayo, ube conservative before udecide ukuthi uyoyimosha.
Yazi babu John, usifundisa izinto la. I'm sure abantu abaningi abazilutho ngalama preservation funds ukuthi uthatha imali yakho uyigcina okwesikhashana ungakadecide ukuthi wena uzoyisebenzisa kanjani. Sithinte la studio 0117146918 or 71469119. consumer@sabc.co.za. Yilungelo Lakho is back shortly after this. Welcome back. Mbugele ukhumbule ukuthi phela ingcingo zethu they are live and open. Ungasifonela ku 0117146918 or 71469119. You can also email us your thoughts please ku consumer@sabc.co.za. Alternatively, catch us on social media. We'll be reading some of the Facebook messages and isibhalele zona. My guest today, Ubabu John Manyike from Old Mutual, alongside our financial expert on the show, Ubabu Gerald Mwandiambira. Maybe Gerald, maybe according to you, Baba, what is this preservation fund Ubabu Manyike is talking about? Because a lot of people, I mean, I'm hearing studio, even reactions here in studio, a lot of people are like, you know what, we don't know about that. What is this preservation fund? How do I even make a decision? Where do I go if I want to put my money in the so-called preservation fund, Baba?
Okay, well, with the preservation fund, you're looking at your pension or provident fund money. Now, remember the pension or provident money was supposed to be your retirement money. It's supposed to be a retirement annuity. You're supposed to receive a pension every month, a certain amount of money for you to live off, either for the rest of your life or for a certain period. Now, because you've taken a voluntary severance package, you've made your retirement date come quickly. But it doesn't necessarily mean you've reached your retirement age or the date you want to retire. So what it allows you to do is to take that money and preserve it. Now, by preserving it, you're avoiding, as Bob John said, tax. Because by preserving it, you're basically saying, no. I know I'm taking it now, but I'm not retiring yet. I'm going to put it in another vehicle where it can grow, and then at a date I nominate, either after age 55 or when I retire because of disability or immigration, I can then access that money. So you are not forced to eat the money. You can actually preserve it. And the preservation fund normally works, especially if you're high in demand, like Bob John was saying, you know, you're an engineer. So before you even take your voluntary package, you know Gudum Severance is waiting for you at another company. You rather take that money, put it into a preservation fund, and when you start it in your new company, you can move it and then combine it with the new fund which you start there. So all it's saying is, if you are still planning on retiring at a later date, then preserve the money. You are not forced to take the money, because by exercising your right to access that money, you're also allowing SARS to have access to that money, and tax is quite a lot. For most people who I see who take their severance packages, tax can be between 25 and 30% of the money going straight to SARS. So you need to be very careful. Preserving the money is the wise idea, to say, you know what, I'm not yet ready. I'm going to take some time to think things through, and I will then access it. And then you can make a decision from there. So preservation funds are definitely one way of delaying your access to the money, especially if you know that you've got another income to keep you going. Remember, the magic word, the only reason most people are working is for income. So if you cannot replace that income immediately, then you don't really need to be accessing that money, because temptation is there. We all want to have big TVs. We all want to have porcelain tiles and wooden floors. But at the end of the day, you can have a porcelain tile in an empty plate. You can have a big screen TV and no money to pay the subscription. You know, you can have a big car which drives on E, enough all the time, never to the finish. You want to have a car which you drive and it's on finish, to show that no, life is good, not enough showing that, hey, I don't know, today you're just praying in tongues because you want to get home on time. So it's important, preserve the money when you get that opportunity. Talk to a financial advisor. This is very important now. Talk to someone who is registered with the Financial Services Conduct Authority, who is with a registered FSP, who knows what they're talking about. And really don't rush also. And when you get these financial advisors, do a beauty contest. Go and
don't take the first one, Gerald.
Don't take the first one. No, the first one sometimes it's not always the best. It's like choosing a wife, unless it's God ordained.
Okay, Gerald, let's find out from Babu John. Babu John, you know, Gerald, what he's saying is making quite a lot of sense, but let's be realistic in the current economic times, and, you know, in the previous disposition, Yama workers in South Africa, in that abantu bathi mabesebenza yebo basebenzela income, as we've said, ukuthi that's the magic word, but when people get isamba semali, Babu John, mina nawe siyazi ukuthi izingane kumele zibekelwe imali zesikole, kunezikweletu ekumele ziqedwe. So not everyone has that luxury yokuthi athathe leyo mali ayifake kwi-preservation fund. So benza njani ke laba that don't have a choice but have to settle lana, bavale lana, aqeda ukufaka iroof ekhaya because of this? You know what I mean? Yiziphi izinto angazenza ukuthi mhlambe aspende wisely even though uqeda lezo zikweletu, baba?
Yeah, I think lana sizokhuluma ngama-priorities, yabona ukuthi yini into abalulekile, yabona empilweni yakho, ngoba izinto zethu azifani, namandla wethu awalingani, nale package ngeke ilingane, because kuyadepend ukuthi bohola malini, usebenze for how many years kuleyo company. So you find ukuthi idingwa zethu azifani. So but noma kunjalo kumele uhlale phansi ubhale ama-priorities wakho ukuthi yini ebalekile, izinto ezibalekile empilweni yakho, ukuthi ukhona uku-calculate. Angeke uqale ukwenza izinto ungaka-calculate ukuthi kumele kuqale ini and then bese kulandele ini. So that's the first thing I think it's, that we must look at. Once senze lawo ma-calculation, then we can make those decisions ukuthi mele siqale kuphi. You can't just assume ukuthi just because kuney'dingo zabantwana and so on and mele uvele uyisebenzi. But enye into ebalulekile ngifuna ukuyimenshina lana, ngoba inkinga yabantu yi-panic. Abantu bayaphenika. So uyazibuza ukuthi hey, nginey'kweletu. Before you even settle iy'kweletu zakho, I mean, I would say don't even make an arrangement when anyway. I'm going to say something ezosanda ngathi controversial. Before you rush into making arrangement with any credit provider, ngoba uthathi i-package, ask ukuthi is there a credit life insurance?
Yes.
Because then if you have a credit life insurance, insurance emele ikhokhe for equality in the event of retrenchment. I'm not sure what the clauses will say if it's voluntary versus if it's a forced retrenchment. So, but you need to inquire first, because then the insurance mele ikhokhe equality zakho because of retrenchment, so that you know what you know your money is safe. You are making use of Leo policy. Abantu abaningi abazi ukuthi banayo i-credit life insurance, and then they go and make arrangement ngoba kunama retrenchment. So mase ubheke zonke lezo zinto, then you can decide what are the next step. But all I can say is that don't panic. People in most cases, when things are tough and bangekho sure, panic, and what do? But keep imali, but withdraw my investment wonke namali yonke imali ezayo bafuna ukuyithatha yonke nje ihlala kubo. But you need to be calm. That's why it's important to speak to an advisor. Also kwashwara ukuthi no izinto mazinjena, you can safely be able ukuthi ubeke imali ku-instrument ethize, and then ozokhona ukunikeza mhlambe some income on a monthly basis and so on. Very important ukuthi but don't leave this big lump sum on a normal savings account. That is the worst for anyone to make, keeping money in a normal savings account.
But then, Babu John, I mean, we keep hearing this phrase, yokuthi nithi aqashwe umuntu odila ngezezimali, like financial advisors. Those people don't come cheap, obviously. So already abantu have that thing, ukuthi yazini, let's stay away from these people because awazi omunye ukuthi uzongadvise kanjani already nangapha uyangibiza imali yakhe. What is the best way then to find umuntu alright ozogadvise ngamalokhuzana ngama financials wakho, who's not also going to cost le mali lesithi sifuna ukuyisave?
I think we must take comfort from the fact ukuthi when we talk about accredited or registered financial advisors,
yes,
Leo advisor will be held responsible for the advice that they give you. If the advice are wrong and they are reckless in doing that, they may be held liable, including the companies that they work for. So ikoni penalty for abantu abanga advisor abantu kahle. But these people are actually trained to give advice. Number two, if they've given you advice and you don't take the advice, you don't have to pay them. Like what Gerald said, I'll show you to contest yakho lapha, decide. Do a comparison, listen to what is being offered. You will also be educated in the process as you are talking to different people to hear ukuthi bakwadvise kanjani. So it's very important ukuthi before you make that decision, you listen and you research before you make a final decision. Lastly, I want to also say ukuthi what financial advisors charge in terms of your commission. According to the law, imele bakutshele ukuthi how much commission are they going to make from le advice bazokunika yona in terms of if act kukhona act that also demands what they disclose, and moreover, whatever they charge is actually regulated. They can't just charge any amount. The regulator will be able to know you. If as an advisor, you can only charge up to this amount for advice that you give. But as I said, if you don't use the advice, it doesn't mean they need to charge you.
All right. Mbukela, I hope ukuthi kuyacaca ke lapho ukuthi you have a choice ukuthi even if we told a financial advisor, if ungayisebenzisa advice yakhe, you don't have to pay them. Uyasho Babu John lapha. Mbukela nazi number on your screen 011-714-6918, 714-6919. Consumer at sabc.co.za. Yilungelo Lakho will be back shortly after this. Yes, as promised, we're back with Yilungelo Lakho live on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Sahleli nomajali umangcoloso omuhle kakhulu. Number there on your screen 011-714-6918, alternatively 714-6919. Gerald, very quickly, people want to know what is the formula behind the calculation of these monies. I mean, how would you advise one when they come to you and say, Gerald, I'm about to get my severance package. They've said to me, I'm going to receive 50,000, but I don't know how I'm only receiving 50,000. I've been working at this particular company for 50 years. Why am I only receiving 50,000? So what is that formula that goes into calculating the actual monetary value that of the actual money that you actually take home?
Well, for your severance package, remember, it's just saying we don't want to retrench you, but you can live nicely and we'll give you extra nyana so that because you are volunteering to go. Okay?
Yes.
Provident fund or pension. It's quite simple. It's the total of all the contributions you've made over the time. plus whatever contributions your employer has topped up, because sometimes your contributions, and you then multiply that by in terms of the assets which were invested, how much did they grow?
Gerald?
Less the administration fees.
Gerald, you've been freezing there on very important notes that you're making. Can you just start over, Bab?
Okay. I'm saying in terms to calculate the amount you receive as your severance, your employer normally is trying to incentivize you to leave.
Yes.
So they put extra money there for you to leave in terms of the severance pay itself, because severance pay is separate to the amount you're going to receive from your pension and provident fund. That money is always yours. The pension provident fund is simply the amount you contributed through the time multiplied by the growth in the
All right.
assets.
Yo,
The
Gerald.
things which were invested, how much did they grow?
Yes, Gerald, I'm losing you there. I'm going to try and see if we can fix your audio, because you were just, you were freezing on those important notes. Let me for now just check in with Babu John. Babu John, Big Zulu asidleni le mali sosebenzenye imali. Missing asazi-ke le mali. People want to know ukuthi after ususebenzile wasebenza kangaka umsebenzi wakho, then at the end of the day, what is it that you should be thinking about masucabanga ukuthi imali zakho lezi osuyisebenzile in case wena awusakhona ukuyisebenza imali? What other options onga investa kuzona besides lezi obusuzibalile baba when we started the show?
Yeah, so Mina, one of the things that we try and encourage people to do, not only in terms of ukuthola imali ye package and so on.
Yes.
Whether usebenza or whether uthola I package, kumele uqale ukubheka ukuthi how do you diversify income yakho?
Okay.
So if you use leyo mali uyitholayo ukuthi like they say ukuthi don't put all your not Easter eggs in one basket. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So, and in that way, ungathathi yonke leyo mali uyoyibeka ku instrument eyi-one. You need to see ukuthi how do you diversify ama investment ukuthi imali ihlale kuyindawo ezihlukene, ngoba amanye ama investment awaperformi kahle during certain times, amanye aperforma ngcono. So you need to understand from i-financial advisor yakho ukuthi what are the different instruments, what are the risks in different assets, whether it's going to be in property, whether it's going to be in stocks, or whether ufuna ukungena kuma shares, zonke lezi zinto kumele u-understand ukuthi i-risk yala elapha injani. But ngaphandle kwalokho, it comes to creating different streams of income. So if you decide okay, ngizochubeka mhlambe ngo-offerisha lama service of based on what I know, like mhlambe let's say I used to be in a medical profession, but you can try and see how do I diversify? Is there anything else engayenzayo? That's why kusho kulamalanga ukuthi we are living in a gig economy. So you must be able to have income, whether a bit of it comes from entertainment, others come from your medical profession, or mhlambe you like doing hair, whatever the case may be, you need to be looking at different things.
All right, Gerald, I'm sure you can hear me now. I just want to quickly go through that formula of calculation. That was very important, Baba, and we seem to have been losing you there.
Okay. Now, a voluntary severance package comes with two components. There's the actual severance package, which is an amount of money which they're incentivizing you to leave. So that is a formula which you agree to. So sometimes they can say 1 month salary for every year worked, etc. That's just a salary to say we're cutting off ties. Okay? So that's a lump sum on its own, especially if you've worked for a long time. The other lump sum you're looking at is your pension or provident fund. Your pension or provident fund is how much you are paying every month from your salary, plus any amount which your employer was topping up, because some employers, they top up that amount, multiplied by the growth. So the asset manager was looking after your pension fund, how much did it grow by? And then you subtract the administration fees which might have been charged along the way. So when you're talking VSP, there's two components. There's the component of the lump sum where you're getting it as a last salary. So that last salary, they make it sweet because they know they don't have to pay you again. That is the part you negotiate. And then the part which is really, governed by performance in the past is the amount in your pension or your provident fund. When you combine these two, then it becomes a lot of money. And that's why a lot of people are tempted to take the severance package, because they look one side and it's their pension fund, they look the other side and it's a big amount because they were working for a long time and they think it's a lot of money. But when you start considering how long you have to survive, it sometimes doesn't work out to being as much as you think it is.
Thank you so much, Gerald. And maybe just answer this for us. Sfiso Ngube from Four Ways in Riverside says, my partner is thinking to resign at work. He worked for 15 years and wants to take the package. My concern is he does not have a plan for how he's going to use the money. He's not working for a year now because of the pandemic. He says, can you please help us here?
I think, the magic words, he doesn't have a plan, It's better if he can remain employed to do that. I would actually say, without giving advice on air, without knowing your full financial situation, I need to know everything about your lives. But based on what you're sharing, it's better for you to stay. If you had a plan, i.e. you've got a business which has been doing well, but it needs a bit of capital to go to the next level, then maybe I would say, okay, maybe you can consider that. But the main problem there is that there's no plan. I know he's frustrated that he hasn't worked for a year, but right now, a job in hand is better than nothing. You really need to preserve whatever you have in terms of employment income. If you don't do that, you could end up in a situation. Because I love the way that he's actually spoken to you. Because many couples, a hubby doesn't even tell the wife. He just comes home and says, and that leads to also relationship problems. So definitely, I like the fact that at least he's sharing this situation with you. But the best advice right now, without knowing your full situation, is if you have no plan, stay in your job.
All right. Babu John, look, is there a possibility that one could be underpaid due to a miscalculation? And if you later then realize ukuthi you were mispaid, wenza njani? Is there ways that you can actually go and try and ukuthi back leyo mali?
I think okusalayo kumele si understand ukuthi labantu sebenza nabo akusamangilozi. Human beings make mistakes. Ama-calculations
it's mistakes, Babu John, yes.
But the point is, if it's not a mistake and if it's an intentional one, it's a different problem altogether. For example, if you have umqasha azothi kuwe, no, we are encouraging you to take an early retirement ngoba abafuna ukukhokhela i-voluntary package. Ngoba ama-calculations are fine. Mawuthatha early retirement versus mabathi voluntary package, kunomehluko omkhulu, because they won't add all these things. Babu
John, just hold it there. I want to take a quick ad break in Mbugeli because it's our final ad break, and then we're going to come back and wrap up Lauma points. Babu John, Sizwe no Babu Gerald Tugututin. The numbers are still on your screen. We're back shortly after this. It's our final segment in Mbugeli. Babu John, let's finish there. Uguti, are you then able to go back and ucele lezo imali that were outstanding to you? And what is the process?
Yeah, if it relates to e-pension or provident fund, yes, you can go ubhalele mhlamba ama-trustees ukuchaza ukuthi the way ubona ngakhona ngathi kukhona laba ngacalculate kahle khona. And then bakhona ukucacisela ukuthi breakdown bafike kanjani kuleyo figure. But as I said, this is more of an exception to the norm. If you still maintain ukuthi you are right and the calculator yabo mhlambe iphelele ubheji, you have an option of lodging a complaint, a pension fund adjudicator. But you can't just complain unless you know your facts. Right? Maybe a classic example will be mhlambe if a date of appointment yakho is put incorrectly. Those are signs that can give you an indication of a miscalculation. But under normal circumstances, there shouldn't really be a challenge. But I think any is if you are told you are being retrenched, mara amaphepha wonke athi early retirement, there's a big difference. Then that's ground for lodging a complaint. ayikhona something sekudlala
All right.
ngesingisi ke la.
Okay, Babu Gerald, in closing, like, is it even possible for me to negotiate my severance package? Like, very quickly, Bab.
Definitely. Severance package is fully negotiable because it's voluntary. You're not being forced. It's not a retrenchment. You can say no. So if you're not happy with the terms, you can try and get a better deal. And if you don't get the deal you want, you definitely can say no and stay employed. It's not the same thing as retrenchment. Be careful when they try and make it sound the same. As Ubab John is saying, retrenchment and voluntary severance package, two different things. Early retirement, also something completely different.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Ubaba John Manyeke from Old Mutual, alongside Ubabu Gerald Mwandiambir, our financial expert. Mbukeli, haike seliphela kanjalo uhlelo and isikhathi sesingiphelele. Unfortunately, we're having so much fun. Ngicela futhi ukunibonga with all your participation and all your questions. Now yonke ilokhuzana eniyenzile namhlanje to get in touch and get hold of us. Remember, as of next month, we are coming to you on a Tuesday afternoon. Iskhathi from the 6th of April. Sizobe sesingena lana from umhlaka 6 April. So sesingena la I think at 4:30 p.m. We're still going to confirm that. But from me, Untokazi Charlie, thank you so much for joining us. That's where we leave it with Yilungelo Lakho. We'll see you again very soon. Msale kahle.
Oh,